It is good, my daughter, that you go out with his young women. In verse 8, Boaz had said to her to stay close by my young women, using the feminine word na'arote. In verse 21, Ruth had said Boaz's words were, you shall stay close by my young men, using the masculine word niarim. Now, without knowing Boaz's true words at all, but knowing the customs of the land, Naomi instinctively says that it is good, my daughter, that you go out with his young women, using the feminine na'arotav. Why have these things occurred? Well, let's go back to chapter 1 and reread Naomi's words to her daughters-in-law when they were at that crucial moment of deciding to continue on to Israel or return back to Moab. There we read this. But Naomi said, turn back, my daughters. Why will you go with me? Are there still sons in my womb that they may be your husbands? Turn back, my daughters, go, for I am too old to have a husband. If I should say I have hope, if I should have a husband tonight and should also bear sons, would you wait for them till they were grown? Would you restrain yourselves from having husbands? No, my daughters, for it grieves me very much for your sakes that the hand of the Lord has gone out against me. As soon as Naomi mentioned a close relative or a redeemer, what did Ruth do? She stepped back from the picture and mentioned staying close to the young men, right? She's implying that a relationship might come up between Naomi and Boaz. She's removing herself from any intended relationship with Boaz. By saying that she would stay by the young men, it means that she would make herself available to them. In doing this, it would keep Boaz from being interested in her and instead be willing to redeem Naomi. It is once again an act of humility by saying to Naomi, he is also your kinsman redeemer. If you knew what this is picturing, you'd be in tears too. But Naomi corrects her thinking. In essence, I'm not the one who will receive him. You are. You need to stay close to these young women, not the men, just as he instructed you. She can already perceive that she is too old to bear a child for Ruth, and so the kinsman must redeem through the line through Ruth, not her. And further, she can tell that with all of the attention Boaz has doted on her in this one day and in the promises of the rest of the harvest, that he's interested in her, and he might redeem the family through her. Elimelech's name will be carried on through Malone, and Malone's name will have been revived through Ruth. In order for this to come about, and for Boaz to grow more fond of her than he is already, she instinctively tells her to go out with his young women, not with the young men, which could only lead to trouble. The story and the words have been most carefully selected to show us a much greater picture in redemptive history, and yet at the same time, they show the hopeful intent of these women for the chance to be redeemed by an honest and an honorable man of Israel. Verse 20.